Storm is coming. Storm is coming. Storm is coming. Storm is coming. Storm is coming.
Supply station! Fight's coming!
New Year's Eve is coming!
Breakers midnight shout out loud. Time to game the skies our crowd. New Year glow, the pixels gleam. In this house we chase our dreams. Level up, we're on a spree. Infinite lives for you and me. Controllers high, don't hit pause. Celebrate without a cause. Happy New Year, givers cheer. 2025 is finally here. Pixelated fireworks bright. Grind all day and game all night. Grind all night. Friends online, we're never alone. Together in our digital zone. Questing through the nights and days. Glitches gone, we found our pace. Bonus rounds and secret codes. Brighter future not erode. New adventures we embark. Lighting up our gaming spark. Happy New Year, gamers cheer. 2025 is finally here. Pixelated fireworks bright. Grind all day and game all night. Bonus rounds and secret codes. Brighter future not erode. New adventures we embark. Lighting up a gaming spark. All night.
PHILNESS.
What's up, grinders? Happy New Year! Yes, this is the end. The last gaming grindhouse of 2024. We have made it. A whole 2024. Welcome, everybody, coming on in here. It's silence. We're going to start with silence. That's right, Daniel. We're going to start with a little silence there. A little reflection of the year that we've just had on there. But shout out to everybody coming on in. Shout out to Ron M for already dropping the members. He already dropping some members. We're starting off with the members. Members only. We get members only coming in here. Oh, damn.
25.
It's coming.
Storm is coming.
Thank you for the VIP membership.
Ron, I'm making sure that we got 5 more people for tomorrow. Thank you, Ron M. I appreciate it. Yes. So if you missed the show yesterday, I did basically a talk about the portable consoles and kind of like where this is going, the future, and what we've seen and my experiences with the portable consoles as the portables, as you call them, as well. So that kind of tipped into a little bit of the predictions, but we're gonna have basically an open show. We're just going to talk about 2024, some of the games, the news, the pivots, and all that other stuff in the gaming grindhouse. And then tomorrow, probably around noon, I'm going to see how my day goes, but definitely around noon, around that time, Eastern Standard Time, we're going to get a members only thank you for the gaming grinders. So we're going to have a New Year's Eve members only show. So thank to Ron M. So those who got the members, just know if you have a membership or you get one this evening or you want to get a membership, tomorrow we'll have a show. We'll have some giveaways there and just hanging out. Yeah, just be hanging out New Year's Eve in the afternoon. Not going to do it at night because I'm going to be out partying in the gaming grindhouse. But in the afternoon, Eastern Standard Time, we will have just a members-only show for the last one of the year. But this is the gaming grindhouse that you want to be on, because this is the last show of the year where we're going to talk about everything that happened in 2024, as much as we can bring up, and then predictions for next year. And a lot has happened since just this month. It's been wild. But shout out to everybody coming on in here. Hit that like button. Share it out. I think Frog said he's going to jump on as well if he's around. I got his Discord open for him to come on in there, so I'm waiting for Frog to jump on. So hopefully he surprises us on there. There's also going to be a couple of music goals that we have tonight. We have 2 songs I'm going to drop tonight. We hit our goals with that one. And shout out to Stonewall 1892, member for 27 months. He goes, I wish all the grinders and Jez a happy New Year. Thank you, Stonewall. I appreciate it. I appreciate all the support, man. For over 2 years, man. It's incredible. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. And thank you for everybody coming on in here. The Gaming Grindhouse. Shout out to Ace, Daniel Laurent. We got Wild Wolf, Mr. Tennis, Outside Gaming Night, Michael Lynch, Alfonso. We got Plus Ultra. What else I get? Oh, Alpha Ghost, Team Ambush, Ron M. Shout out to him. Dropping them off. For Brizzle's here. We got For Brizzle. Billy Akira. Shout out to you, man. Coming on in here. We had Sweet Willie in here earlier, and the first one was in here was Harry Tran. So shout out to Harry coming on in there. So definitely hit that like button on your end. Where are those Xbox ninjas? I don't know. They've been on vacation. Where are those Xbox ninjas? Well, they may show up. Who knows? They may show up, those Xbox ninjas. They're still working on Wukong. Anybody? Anybody? Wukong. Hey, Wukong. On Xbox. Wukong? Phil? Anybody? Phil?
Gaming.
Talking about faux pas of 2024, another one. Just when you thought Baldur's Gate was the 2023 Xbox skip, you had your 2024 Xbox skip. And Wukong, another Game of the Year contender. Just, where's the version? At least with Baldur's Gate at the end of 2023, at least they had an announcement at the Game Awards that Baldur's Gate came out for Xbox. Wukong, Phil said he can't talk about it. Still incognito, who knows? But yet another Game of the Year contender just missing Xbox for some unknown reason. Whether it was a Sony money hat, whether it was just because the booster was there, the booster box, who knows? But yeah, just when you thought that 2023 wasn't enough, 2024 showed Xbox skip again. A lot of Xbox skips. But that was the biggest one of Wukong. A big skip. But Happy New Year to everybody. It's been a hell of a year. 2024. It's really weird. So going back and looking at, there's my feeling of 2024. There's the industry's kind of news of what happened, because it was a very, strange year. 2024 was it was a peak and valley year, I would say. There were its highs and there were its very, 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 very lows on there. Like, I think there may have been a couple more lows than highs, but the lows were really low. And one of the biggest things we're going to talk about is just some of those lows. But let's talk about some of the highs, because this is the thing I want to start with. As with anything, a year in review, what kind of game? We got to talk games. We'll get to the news. But let's talk about the games. And for me, it was a full year. Like, I really did not have a lot of dips in my gaming experiences. And as I mentioned before, you know, my kind of year started in 2024 with a surprise for me in Grand Blue Fantasy. I had no clue going into 2024. I had no idea. I don't play that. I'm like, I don't know. Like, from graphically, I'm like, oh, wow, looks kind of neat. And I tried the demo and I was blown away. I never played the mobile game. I never touched it, but it was like the first gem for me. My first kind of like addiction was Grand Blue Fantasy. The epic fights, like, I cannot put that down. And that was the start of the year. And that was just something where that just took over my January with Grand Blue into February, which we know what happened there, and that took over. But I had no clue about this game. And this was a pleasant surprise for me in early 2024. Let me see if I could probably even go into some of my things here. And I don't know if that was it was a surprise for others, but you know, the demo was there. I tried the demo and I was like pleasantly surprised, and it made me pick up the game. And everybody's like, it's a gotcha game. It's a grab. I'm like, who got me? I'm like, this game got me. Is that what you mean by a gotcha game? It's like, oh no, you got to grind and all. Like, I had all the characters. I had some characters. I wasn't like in this collectible thon of trying to collect characters. I was happy with who I got and leveling up all my people. I was fine with it. But man, the epic fights, the battles, the boss fights. Yeah, here it is. Like, yeah, this 11 months ago, man, this got me. It got me. And it was one of my biggest, first things of the year that in the year in review was Grand Blue Fantasy. I was pleasantly surprised by the demo. And again, like, I just love the action. I love the craziness that went on. It is the part, this is the early start of it. But man, this is my stream of it. Grand Blue Fantasy took me away for January, but that was one of my big games for 2024. And one of the things that I had no clue coming into this year. I had no clue to do that one. And I just finished a huge boss fight. I think in the last stage of it, because I got taken away by the next game. Which after Grand Blue Fantasy, I was like, whoa, I was hooked. But then, grinders, another game that honestly I had and I'm like, oh, I want to try this out. But I thought it was a bunch of, you stand there and a bunch of aliens come at you and you just defend like a tower defense. I had no idea it was what it was. I thought it was just like, oh, like, look, it's like Starship Troopers. It's just a bunch of, enemies coming at you. You hold down an area and then you get out of there. I had no clue what I was going to get in for. I watched the trailers. I'm like, yo, this looks good. I'm going to try it out. And you can imagine what really took over my year after Grand Blue. Grinders, after Grand Blue, this game alone took me out. Like, I was streaming the hell out of it. And it was so funny because Sony released the headphones, right? The Pulse Elites came out around the same time of this game. And that is Helldivers 2, Grinders. Over 70 hours. I don't know where they went. I streamed with the Grindhouse, Frogs, his family. We were playing this game. Lights out, man. I don't even know what happened. Blink of an eye. I leveled up. I was jumping on, trying to unlock the mech, liberate planets. The meta game on this thing made me have this urge to play it nonstop and to get the points, to get the battle passes. And this was my next addiction this year in 2024. So it's pretty crazy that I didn't go into 2024 thinking that these two games that hit me early in the beginning of the year were going to do what they did. I was like, oh, I'll check them out. Because I pretty much play everything. I try everything. And my goodness, I was following them on X, saying, well, yo, what do we got to liberate next? I loved the idea, and I wanted more of it, of the whole liberate an area to unlock something. It was such an awesome thing. It integrated the metagame with social media, and it really did such an awesome job when we had to liberate certain planets to unlock the mech. I thought that was something. Ace said he had 150 hours. Crazy, man. Crazy. It just goes by. It just goes by. I couldn't even believe it. It was such an action-packed game. I even tried it, and everybody's like, well, it's only for multiplayer, right? What's up, Magnum? How you doing, man? And what's up? Like, it just, I tried it even single player. And it actually, and I love the elements. Dude, this game blew me away. And then if you're playing with friends and stuff, it is chaos. Just calling in airstrikes and you're too close to the airstrike or close. It was hilarious. It reminded me, it had a little bit of that. If you remember EA's old game of Mercenaries, we used to do all the airstrikes and call in all the stuff. That's what Helldivers. I loved Mercenaries. It never really built up to what it was, but it was this sandbox of calling in stuff. If you remember this, I think EA did it. Was it EA? I think it was EA. But Helldivers just brought that back and just calling in these incredible explosions and things, and you're like, get out of there, jump out of there. It was action-packed movie. And everything was just so tense, and it was incredible. It still is. And I'm going to stream the new enemies that they finally added at the Game Awards, and this was multiplayer game of the year. Well, it was mine. Incredible. Yes, the first Mercenaries. Yeah, so it was a Mercenaries 2, I believe. Yeah. There was a Mercenaries, but yeah, bot drops. And still, even after all those hours, when I start calling in orbital strikes on the drop ships, oh my God, and watching them blow up in the air, like, it was just so much fun. But this game was a huge highlight. Rockstar did Mercenaries. Thank you, Chris Keen. And then probably EA took it, right? No, Rockstar did Mercenaries. Yeah, Mercenaries was awesome. But that was the whole thing, like of just calling in all this stuff. You call in vehicles, drop vehicles, and all this other stuff. But yeah, this game took me away. But this was like the second level of what it was for the year. So gaming wise, so far 2024 was hitting. And it was a surprise because I again, these games, I was not like rubbing my hands together, Birdman style, go, ooh, damn, I'm ready. I was like, no, let me check it out. And I stayed. That was the crazy thing. Let me check it out. And I was like, yo, I'm in it. And then, let me see what else. I would say another pleasant surprise I got to review was Contra Operation Galuga. That was a kind of like I would say a surprise game for me as well. I was glad I got to review it. And I had fun with Operation Galuga. Operation Galuga. I did like that. That was a kind of a side game that it kind of got me excited there. That game was pretty damn good. I like that. The Contra. Let me go through my list here. The Pulse Elites, I have to say, hardware. We'll get into hardware, but let me talk about games first. The Helldivers just took over 10 months ago. Boo, I was all in that. I was playing that. Then after that, I did some Operation Garuga. Pacific Drive was interesting. Got to do some of that. Pacific Drive. But then, grinders, came something else. And I believe Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Still Operation Google P9s. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And then Stellar Blade. Again. Really, dude, like, I have to say, like, again, Final Fantasy, I was ready for, because I love Final Fantasy VII. I went back, I finished, made sure that I had everything finished for the first one, the remake, and then I had Rebirth. And Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is I think it's incredible. It's what we should, like, if we are going to play the games that we grew up with, I wish all of them got this kind of treatment. Because this is the way to do it. Like it gives more depth to the characters. It just, and I know it's a lot. You know, they took a game that was 3 or 4 discs and turned it into a series of stuff. But Final Fantasy, the combat, the refinements that they made to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth to the first one in the combat wise was awesome. The synergies and things like that they did with the combo attacks, and just the breadth of where, like, it I remember when I played Remake, like, it was still, like, I felt very, but that's the nature of the game, you know, that's how Midgard was. Like, it was very, it didn't open up. And I loved how they opened this one up into these bigger areas. And I can't wait for the third one, because that's going to be basically like free roam with the airship and everything like that. But I love how it just wasn't more of the first one. They actually made it a legit sequel to the first one in Rebirth, which I thought was very, very interesting. I thought it was just going to be, all right, stop it here, and then we'll just do the same mechanics, same gameplay, everything, just do it again, and we'll just do it in the next part of the story. And they didn't do that. They updated everything. They added more dynamic combat. They added more things to it, which really made it not feel like it was just a continuation of the first game, just cut off, like sliced up. So I really think that they did a fantastic job of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And, you know, whatever, I'm telling you, this is my year, just games that I played that I really liked. And then my other game was Stellar Blade. Stellar Blade, awesome. Beat that game. I really did like Stellar Blade a lot. The music, the pacing. And again, what surprised me after I finished Stellar Blade was that both Stellar Blade and Grand Blue Fantasy were games, the first AAA games that they made. They won, you know, Grand Blue, that those guys have made mobile games. And now Stellar Blade, there was their first game. And the pacing, the music, the polish. Incredible. For the first game. First AAA, like, console game. No excuses. No, we'll ship it at 30. We'll fix it later. No, none of that stuff. Well, patch 1.2 is today. We'll patch 1.3 coming in a few weeks. No. Put the game on and play. But this is how I recall 2024. It was just one banger game after another. And there was surprise games. Again, it wasn't a banner year in the big IPs. It wasn't your Marios this year. It wasn't your Halos. It wasn't your it wasn't your God of Wars, your Uncharted's, Last of Us. It wasn't any of that stuff. But an honorable mention, I would say too, was you know, the fact that some of these games didn't, like, I know it wasn't a banner year in that kind of IP stuff. Like, you can't just look and go, yo, look at all this stuff. And no, it was crazy. But yeah, you're right, Josh. And on top of that, they added the hardware as well, which we'll get into with the headphones and stuff like that. But just software wise, like it was supposed to be a quiet year. And after playing Stellar Blade and Final Fantasy and Grand Blue and Helldivers 2, I was just like, woo. And then here comes June. And what do they do? Guys, or was it May? It was May. It was in the May beginning of June. Astrobot's coming out in a few months. Who? Astrobot? The game they gave away for free, they expanded it. And now, this game comes out, Astrobot. Game of the year. It's supposed to have been a quiet year. And it crazy. Craziness. But I'm talking about the peaks. Rise of Ronin, I never got. I know Hero Down Under. I never got Rise of Ronin. But I should try it out. But I never got Rise of Ronin. And then I was hyped. I was excited for Hellblade 2. Now, I played Hellblade 2. I was excited for it because I loved the first Hellblade. What's crazy is that the first Hellblade was like one of the first games that I booted up on my PS4. After Uncharted. Now, I did Uncharted 4, but I did Hellblade. Because it came around the same time that I got my PlayStation 4. And I couldn't believe what they were offering for the price and what Hellblade 1 was. And I was really excited for Hellblade 2. We saw their vacation photos. We saw all the stuff that they were going to do, and it looked good. I played it on PC, but the thing is that it was less of a game than the first one, and it was one of my biggest disappointment of the year. It really was. I could not believe when I discovered the autoplay live that you could just let it autoplay. And the cinematics, like, it looked great watching it, but like playing it, it wasn't a game. There were a few puzzles, and the combat was just autoplay. You could turn it on autoplay. And the biggest travesty, I wouldn't even say was the gameplay, because I was disappointed in the gameplay. But what was disappointing the most was the story. It did nothing to expand the first story. And the ending was horrible. It was so confusing and just it didn't make you want to, like, no need for a Hellblade 3. Like, well, for what? What happened? Why was her father still around? Like, there's so many questions. I thought she overcame that problem. And what was such an incredible exploration of sound and immersion in the first Hellblade, the second one, they were annoying. And then they added the deep voice of the dad, the father, the demon, who I thought she overcame and challenged him in the first game. But he's still around, and now he's yelling in your ear. And it just became such an annoyance rather than an element to the story. Where the first one was much more, they didn't talk so much. They whispered, they gave hints, they would say stuff. But they did nothing with it in the second game. They just did more of it, and they were just annoying as hell. And just yelling in your ear. And they tried to add other characters. But then you had those characters, and then you had the voices talking over those characters. So you couldn't even care about those characters. Because they were talking over them. And then the other disappointment, but it really wasn't a disappointment for me because I had enough after I played the beta. And that is Concord. Grinders. This had to be the biggest fail in Sony history. And they made it a race like the blip from Marvel. They went boop. They did a Thanos snap and said, you don't remember that game. They pulled a Men in Black. Look at the light. But if you look at the story of Concord this year, it needs its own book. Where's Jason Schreier? Because this game came out in beta, and I played it during its beta weekend. And they gave you all the characters, all the map. It was the full game. Free beta. I was like, oh shit, hey, I free beta. Played it. It was enjoyable. For free beta, it was all right. I was like, oh, it looks good. Has some polish to it. I was getting to know the characters. I was upset that they didn't have, then I found out about the whole like stacking your abilities. I was like, oh, okay, so they want you to change this stuff. And okay, I see. But it still wasn't dynamic enough to introduce anything new. So after the beta, I was done with the game. I'm like, oh, thanks. That was fun. But then I saw all the feedback and what people wanted. And Sony didn't do anything about it. And they just proceeded to release the game as is. And it was a fail. There were some people that played it, but it wasn't enough. And it was so low for them that they pulled it and refunded everybody. That is crazy. And then they just did a Thanos snap. And they said, here's ASTROBOT. And ASTROBOT was the complete opposite. It was incredible. It blew up. Everybody was playing ASTROBOT. It was such a charming game to celebrate their years. And I think it was more of a strategy. And I did a video on this where Concord failed so ASTROBOT could fly. Because I think that they knew that if they had this Concord, this black eye, it would have been something that would have been just kind of pulling them down like an anchor when they needed to just kind of fly and just show the quality of what they could put out. But it can't deny of what Concord was. And it was the biggest L I've ever seen before. Like dude, you haven't seen games just refund that quickly. 2 weeks. It was crazy. It got canceled before getting canceled, and then nobody played it. It was crazy. 2 weeks, refunds. Have you ever seen that for a game that with that kind of polish and stuff? It's crazy. Maybe a indie passion project may have something, but I don't even think those things would stick around. But it's crazy. Yeah, I know. Well, you could say, and like I said, claim it was a number of things. They had to fight the uphill fight against Overwatch. There was the culture stuff that was an issue. Then there was just, it didn't do enough to explain its game mechanics. It didn't have a tutorial. They gave you all the characters for free over the weekend, and so then everybody just had the same free characters. And it's crazy. See, Ace bought his ASTROBOT game with his Concord refund. There you go. See, Concord had a fall so Astro could fly. But trying to think of any other ones that stood out to me of what happened. But like ASTROBOT was great. Here's my Concord open beta, man. That's gonna be. I want they pull it down if I play it again. Show my thing. Let me see if there's any other ones. Then I got on this retro kick. And I showed a couple of these retro games that I played with these Kin Hanks and stuff like that. So I really got into this kind of old school, just back to the arcade. And it made me appreciate a lot of the games. And just like, it made me look at the gaming industry and look at the complaints and the stuff that was happening. And just said, don't be sorry, be better. Boy. Don't be sorry, be better. That's how I felt. Like, I felt that they should have, that, games, like, I played these retro games and I was like, dude, like, look what they were doing back then. Like, stop complaining, stop whining about these games, stop giving this media frenzy of like, oh, sorry, oh, it's not the way it used to be. It's like, you know what? I don't care. People want entertainment. People want engagement. People don't want to be just like fed this kind of bogus way of trying to get money out of our pockets to line your pockets. Just give people, gamers, what they want. Great games. Don't try to sit there and go, well, you know, well, we got a good game over here, but now how do we get more money from them? What can we do? And that's where I feel that, you know, playing those retro games made me feel like, you know, just make a game for complete. And that's why ASTROBOT, I'm so happy that it won Game of the Year. And I'm so happy that ASTROBOT showed that we don't need battle passes and need all this cross-platform engagement and these mystery little Timmies sitting on a phone somewhere for some game to get recognized. We don't need that. We just need a great game on one platform. Look, and ASTROBOT made waves. It didn't have to be everywhere. It didn't have to be for little Timmy at McDonald's over the cloud in order for it to get traction. It didn't need it. It was one game on one platform, and it moved the industry to win Game of the Year at the Keeley's Smuggling Grapes Fest. That's the thing. It didn't need a subscription. It didn't need some "we're sorry" patch. It didn't need any of that stuff. ASTROBOT was what I was looking for. What I think we all were looking for. Just a good, complete game. Done. You unlock stuff basically by playing the game and looking for secrets and looking for little bots. And even paying the little credits that you earn in the game or the coins you collect for a little birdie to help you find those bots. And it was at the right time because I had played those retro games. I was going back, playing all these classic games from Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, Sega, and playing those games and going, look, there's no, we gotchas. There's no like, how are we going to monetize these people? No. Oh, Josh, yeah, Josh had a question. Would ASTROBOT have done well if Concord hadn't failed? Yeah, of course it would have. It would have done well, but Concord existing would have been that kind of anchor just dragging along. So I feel that ASTROBOT winning and getting that recognition and that industry revere that it got is telling. And hopefully they see it as a sign moving into 2025 and beyond that, yo, it's not just about how many people are playing on day one and then watch it drop off like a friggin' ski drop. Oh, look, we peaked at 300,000. Oh, where are you now? 6 months. Oh, we got 4,000 people playing. Okay, great. Is that success? Oh, well, we peaked at 300,000 6 months. Is that what you want? It didn't have to be everywhere. It didn't have to be any of that stuff. And it didn't have to be on every platform. It didn't have to be, it didn't need that kind of, that trope that we were fed all year about games. The most successful games have to be on everything. They got to be accessible by little Timmy at McDonald's and at Barnes and Noble. And people who don't even care about games need to be playing it for it to be relevant. That's how we move the industry. It's like, no, you don't, bitch.
Great Circle is coming out
No.
December.
You just make a great game that celebrates your own platform and just doesn't need all that stupid stuff. Gaming only grows if we have it everywhere and everybody who don't care about gaming is playing it. It's like, well, does that make sense? Knock, knock. Does that make sense? People who don't care about your game need to be playing the game that they don't care about. Really. So I just think that hopefully that's a huge end note of gaming for ASTROBOT to do what it needed to do and win what it did. Because there it is. Any game for everyone is a game for no one. Exactly, Wild Wolf. But it just was so refreshing. Fair games, dude. Fair games. She. If I was Sony, Jade Raymond, I'll put her on a different project. Ron M., member of 25 months, says, think PlayStation can make the PS5 OS a published version for PC and a basic subscription for updated releases for PC? What do you think? Well, Ron, I don't think that's... See, I don't know. I don't think that's the route that Sony wants to go, this PlayStation OS. Like, you got to remember that, this whole PC exploration, PlayStation's use of PC gaming is a way to get exposure to more people on their IPs. It's like putting signs for their IPs in different markets to try to get people to get interested in their IPs. That's it. It's almost similar to what they do when they make a movie. Look at the Sonic movie. Incredible movie, by the way. More people playing Sonic Shadows. Did you see that? Because the movie, dude, I'm playing Sonic Frontiers. I should be finishing some games. I started Sonic Frontiers because I saw the Sonic movie. That's the kind of effect. You put the game out there, it's like, whoa, I'm interested in this. Let me go play the other ones. Oh, Uncharted 4? Well, let me play Uncharted 1, 2, and 3. Sony's approach to PC gaming is more of awareness of their games to another platform to either get them involved in some ecosystem or even in their platform. Xbox is trying to do the latter. They're trying to convert or inhabit PC gaming and call it equivalent to an Xbox, because the problem with Microsoft's approach, the Microsoft's approach is trying to get more people because they don't have enough. And they got to get more people in their services because they got to look for they got to look attractive to a publisher or attractive to, because if they just go out there and say, here's an Xbox, make me something, they're going to laugh them out of the room. Just like Nintendo laughed them out of the room. That's the problem. Their install base is not there. Like, it's the same problem that Windows Phone had. That's the problem. Like, they don't have enough clout, enough install base. So what they're doing is they're manipulating their messaging to convince people that, oh, our install base is not just our console. It is all these devices. Now would you build us a game? Now would you now will we attract a publisher to our services and use Autodesk or Havoc and use our tools? They're like, why would they use the tools if there's no purpose, if they don't have the install base? There was the same problem that Windows Phone had at the 3%. Windows Phone had a 3%. They had to pay developers to make apps for them. And then what happened is that they didn't have the apps. So what Satya came in and said, you know what? Put our apps on everything. Put Office on an iPad. Do it. They're not coming to us for Office on our phones or using Office 3. Just put Office on an iPad. That's it. Just go to them. They're not coming to us, so we go to them. They did the same thing with the Windows 10 store. They started with Game Pass and Xbox ecosystem and Play Anywhere. You buy it once, you get it on PC. But then all of a sudden, nobody was doing it. After a year, nobody was coming to them. So they said, fuck it, put it on Steam day one. Just go to them. Because we're spending money on these games and they're not coming to us. It's like you build a little donut shop. And nobody's coming into your donut shop to buy donuts, but you're making all these donuts. You're spending money making these donuts. Nobody's coming into your store. What do you do with all these donuts? You know what? Put them in ShopRite. Put them on the corner. Put them over here. Just get our donuts out there. Maybe they'll come to our store, but who gives a shit? Give them the donuts. We got to look bigger than what we are. And that's Microsoft's approach. And also, they have a vested interest in Windows PCs because they're fighting Mac, who everybody wants a Mac, but they use Windows because of compatibility. And really, the big thing that carries Microsoft is enterprise. It's the businesses that sign those long contracts that we do everything with Windows, Teams, and all this other stuff. That's the thing. Shout out to Michael Meridian with the 5 VIPs. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate you, man. You got them.
Welcome to all VIP and
Welcome. Thank you, Ron M. Put him in the Dollar Tree, he says.
Welcome to all
Welcome.
ultimate grinders.
But yeah, like that's, and Microsoft's approach and Sony's approach is more of like, hey, you even see the strategy with Microsoft's approach using their same studios who used to make Xbox console exclusive games. Just telling them, now make it for PC. And that's why the development of these games took forever. Because they took people who were building Xbox console games of fixed hardware and told them, now make PC versions of all this. What Sony did was they got Nixxes. And they said, hey, Nixxes, you go make the PC version because I don't want Naughty Dog. I don't want Insomniac wasting development time for our PlayStation platform, making PC versions of their games, and that delays the PlayStation version, the PlayStation sequel to come out. We'll hire Nixxes or outsource it to somebody else to make the PC port so we don't take time away from our studios making the games for our PlayStation. Microsoft did not do that. They took State of Decay devs and said, guess what, State of Decay? Oh, no, they're already making PC games. They took like 343, who all they were making was Xbox version of Halo. Shit, space, and all. And they said, guess what, everybody? You are now PC developers as well. So throw that platform right into the mix. And you got to find configurations for all the PCs. We've heard it before in the We're Sorry videos for Halo. The reason why co-op and all these things were not there is because they had to work on all the configurations for the PCs because Microsoft didn't think their plan through. They just said, hey guys, oh yeah, well, this studio that made Xbox games is now going to make Xbox and PC games. Enjoy. Goodbye. And that took time. Not saying that it's not the same development cycle, but it threw a wrench in the development times. And it also gave them more things to configure for and optimize for. That's why we got all We're Sorries and rough launches and coming in hot. Because Microsoft just took the dude that was working, the fry guy, and said, hey, you work near the grill? Well, guess what, fry guy? You're the burger guy, too. He's like, oh, shit, all I do is deep fry fries. Well, you're making burgers now, too. I was like, oh, shit. Well, guess what's going to happen to those burgers?
Where's the lamb sauce?
Come on, man.
I just need it.
This is the lamb.
He's the fry guy. Well, they told the fry guy, who was specialized in just doing fries, you're making burgers now. What Sony said, hey, fry guy, you keep making the fries. We're going to get another dude who's going to do the burgers. And that's why you see their approaches are different. That's why Microsoft has so much issues with quality and time and delays. Because they just took the same dudes and said, you are now a multi-platform developer. And they try to do it again with this year, going into the news, right? Project Frosted Glass. We found out this year that last year, Phil Spencer had them making PlayStation versions of Xbox games. But they didn't take the same people. They took a special group of the elites and built frosted glass rooms and made them work on the PlayStation versions of Sea of Thieves. That was news. And it started last year. When Phil was touting about exclusives and all this other stuff, he was making PlayStation games. And that's probably the biggest news of this year, regardless of the games. If you want to talk about 2024 news, grinders, the biggest news of them all was the Xbox podcast. Xbox just had a year of transition, a year of topsy-turvy, as they put it, over at Tech Radar. They've been told the year is the year. Next year is our year. But the biggest news of 2024, when you're talking about the games, was this pivot. But on top of this pivot was an even worse pivot. Because what led to games going to PlayStation had to be the worst thing of all of that we experienced in 2024 news-wise in gaming, was the layoffs. This was a horrible year in developers and studio closures. Hi-Fi Rush, gone. The studio, the only Japanese studio for Microsoft that they purchased, Tango, gone. Shut them down. And it started with Toys for Bob. After Activision, Toys for Bob goes independent. Tango gets shut down. Then Concord. After Concord goes, Firewalk Studios gets shut down. And it goes on and on. There were so many layoffs this year. And studio closures and death of IPs. It really was a bad year for game developers. While we had some great games that were played, the layoffs and studio closures were really bad. And it made you rethink this consolidation they, media and all those other clowns, championed consolidation. Cheering on Phil Spencer wearing a suit and talking about ABK and all this Embracer and Tencent and even Sony buying studios like Concord and Bungie. All this stuff. And we've seen all this purchasing. The fallout was this year. Hopefully it doesn't continue into next year. But all this acquisition season really reared horrible results this year. And it goes to show that, hey, use your gut, man. Everybody buying up everybody, it's not the best thing. And those clowns that celebrated all that legal stuff and, oh my God, that Florian dope, all these clowns. What was the other game? What was the name? The lawyer. Oh my goodness. Hose Law. Get the hell out of here with all these clowns going out there and championing this acquisition, even after the CMA shut it down. And then that made Sony reactionary, and stupid asses bought Bungie. Then they bought Firewalk, and they do Jade Raymond and all this other shit from 2023. If you heard of something that grinds my gears, it was all these acquisitions from everybody. It pissed me off. I'm like, stop it. Like, enough with this trash. Because this year we found... It's Hose Law. That's right, Chad. It's Hose Law. It's the Hose Law. But the trash of last year's acquisitions of 2023 and what happened this year. Horrible. Horrible. They didn't even know what they were championing for. The lawyers, fake Twitter lawyers, and all that. They didn't even know what they wanted. They don't even know what they wanted. All they cared about is the clout and all the shit that they got on their channels and all their stuff. The only thing I liked about the whole thing is it showed how incompetent Microsoft was with all the leaked emails. For a company that is on your operating system with Windows, they sure don't have security or smart lawyers over there. They just leak documents left and right, all their strategies and their Phil Spencer emails. Good security and Outlook, bitch.
Great circle is going
Yeah,
out.
can't wait. Tell me more about AI Copilot, asshole. Like, get the hell out of here. That bullshit. But they got leaked emails. Phil Spencer's private emails to his team saying, we suck again. Oh, shit. You weren't supposed to see those. Like Sarah Bond saying, it's not him, it's me. Really? They're just horrible. Good security over there, dopey ass Microsoft. But we saw horrible results this year. But I think the biggest thing is the fallout of the ABK deal. Because that was the biggest acquisition. Yeah, we talked about Bungie and Concord, and that sucks. And Sony showed ignorance on their part as well in acquisitions. But it didn't start until measly, weak-ass Microsoft started buying publishers without knowing what to do with them. And this acquisition of ABK, the biggest deal, $78 or $76 billion. Billions. Somebody looked and said, oh, shit. What are we going to do now? And I gave you, grinders, if you weren't here for it, let me remind you of the ABK deal of 2023 and the fallout. Not Bethesda fallout. The fallout of the ABK deal. It was goddamn Xbox The Hangover. They spent all this money and they woke up the next morning. Phil was face down with a lion on his ass. Stuttering Satya was talking to himself in the mirrors. Matt Booty has face down in the toilet bowl. And they're like, who's paying for this? What happened last night? They're like, dude, you spent fucking $80 billion. Like, for what? What happened? What's wrong with Booty doing? Phil, you got a fucking tattoo on your back. What does it say? It says, sign here, bitches.
Great circle is going out.
Oh, shit, Phil, they gave you a fucking tramp stamp. Oh, Phil's like, no way. What's up with Booty? Oh, he's just shitting. That's what he shits at the mouth. Oh, okay. Booty's normal. He has his face in the toilet bowl. He's okay. That's just Booty being Booty. Booty shits out of his face. That's all right. What the fuck's Greeny doing? Yo, we spent so much fucking money, man. Fuck happened last night, dude? I don't know. Feels like we went to fucking Micro Center. I don't know. I was wearing a suit. Phil, you wearing a suit? He's like, yeah, I'm wearing a fucking suit. I don't know what the fuck happened. Phil, what the hell happened? Yo, how we gonna tell the boss? We spent $80 billion. Holy shit. That's what happened. And then 2024 hit him in the ass. They came in this year in January going, oh, yeah, we got to make that back. I don't know who spent it all. They said heads are going to have to roll now. We spent a lot of money. It's like, oh, shit, here we go. Here we go. Spend the money. Here we go. We need it back. Shut down studios. Green, who wrote in the chat? Who wrote the chat? Greenberg said that, Hi-Fi Rush was ahead of their things, right? Yeah, Hi-Fi Rush. Hi-Fi, get the fuck out of here. That's what it turned into. And then on top of that, it started with rumors of games going to PlayStation. And then it happened. The Phil Spencer Valentine's Day Massacre in February, where he said just 4 games will go into PlayStation. Grinders. A year in review. Craziness. And then it proceeded. This is what happened. Look. April 2023. Hi-Fi Rush was a breakout hit for us. Bootleg Jez was happy. We couldn't be happier with the team at Tango Gameworks. Well, just about 8 months later, Tango Gameworks was no more. Thank God Craft Hunt saved their ass. But here you go. Then they asked Sarah Bond, how do you determine metrics if a game's successful or not? She didn't know. Listen. This year was a start. There you go. This is 2023. Riding high. Hi-Fi Rush. Doing great. A breakout hit. We couldn't be more happy with Tango Gameworks. Tango Greenworks sees this. They go, hey, Phil, we want to make a sequel to Hi-Fi Rush. Phil's like, get the fuck out of here. Holy shit. Get out of here. But Phil, you said it was successful. Shut it down. He went in there goddamn McMahon style. He went, you're fired. Holy shit, Phil. But this was their year. They came into this year $80 billion poorer, but they had all of Activision and Call of Duty and Game Pass.
Black Ops 6 day one Game Pass.
Black Ops 6
sweet, right? Like,
some people said I wouldn't do that.
Yeah,
He's hot shit then.
Have probably been used to spending $60-$70 on it every year. Now, if they're already subscribing to Game Pass,
And
good to go.
But it's a choice. Like, we didn't say to anybody, you have to subscribe to play. If you want to buy Black Ops, it's great. It's great for us. It's great for the developer. If you want to subscribe, it's also great. Like, I want to give you the choice on how you play your games and who you play with, and not try to do slimy platform things to force you to do what I want you to do. Give the players choice.
And right after that, he increased the price to Game Pass to $20 a month. Sounds fucking slimy to me.
25.
It's coming.
Yeah, that sounds slimy to me, Phil. What a year of PHILNESS. The year of PHILNESS. That needs its own show. The year of PHILNESS. And then we got to talk about the other person of this interview. We got to talk about the other person of that famous interview here. ZOINKS.
Live now. And I'm specifically looking at the Series X here. I mean, it's time. We are in year 5 now. It's year 5. Come on. Let's get more people in the door. Everybody knows price is a huge motivating factor. The Series S has been successful. It has gotten people in the door. But let's get that Series X price down a little bit, shall we?
I just wanted to say, I actually don't agree on this one, Ryan.
Okay.
And the reason I don't agree, it's coming strictly from a dollar value perspective. The dollar just isn't as valuable as it used to be. I don't know that they're going to be able to reduce the price of the console, even though that would be a great pro-consumer thing to do. It's not selling as well as they had hoped, I would imagine, based on the numbers that have leaked throughout the years. And
what makes sales go up, Destin?
A sale does, but when you're selling at a 200% loss compared to what you were year over year, like they're already 30% down on sales. So like if the units were selling a little bit better, then maybe they could do something. But if you put on your business hat, how does losing $200 make sense for them?
Wait. Where did this number of 200? Are you saying they're losing $200 per console?
They're losing money every console shipped. We know that. So if they let's say
where
they
did that come from?
Where did it come from? ZOINKS! It came from this dude that you interviewed.
Black Ops 6 Day 1 Game Pass.
Black
That's
Ops
pretty
6,
sweet,
dude.
right? Like,
Some people said I wouldn't do that.
As reported by CNBC, spotted by Eurogamer, Spencer said on Wall Street Journal Live that Microsoft subsidizes the cost of Xbox consoles with the expectation losing $100 to $200 per console is fairly significant amount given the Xbox Series X. And let me ask you something, Zoinks, Shaggies. Let me ask you something. Where were you? Oh, you want to know what, Ryan? I remember where you were. You were complaining about the PlayStation 5 Pro price. Yeah. Oh, who wants this? Who's this for? You were so consumed with the PS5 Pro being $700 that you forgot to wind up that the glitter from Aaron Greenberg strippers were put on an Xbox and they charge you $600. Where the hell was your sale then, bitch?
Great circle.
Where was your sale, Ryan? Now's the time, 5 years in. Dude, they fucking increased the price, you clown ass bitch. They increased the price. They're going up. The fuck are you talking about? Now's the time to... Dude, last holiday. See, we're talking about 2024. 2023, that shit was on fire sale. And they still couldn't win MPDs. They still couldn't even come in second. They were selling the Xbox for $350. Booster was $200. They were fucking $250. They were lightning sales, fire sales. Nothing changed anything. And this year they increased the price. They gave more memory, not at the same price. They gave more memory, took out fucking the Hovis. They took out the vapor chambers. They didn't even fix the goddamn neural processors. Whether they didn't take the processors and make them smaller dies. They did nothing. They gave you the same box, pulled the vapor chamber out as fast as booty farts in the wind, and increased the price because they put in a little bit more memory in there. They go, you know what? We shipped a 512 gigabyte bitch ass booster box. We're going to give you the 1 terabyte now, but not at the same price, though. We're going to go up a little bit here. Let's go up $50 to $100 for Booster Plus. Booster Plus. Dude, they took out Vapor Chamber of the Series X. They pulled out the drive. They put Phil Spencer's fucking face in there, and they charge you $600. Aaron Greenberg said you could borrow my stripper glitter that I got from Hose Law. This is what happens. Where was the discounts then, Shaggy? Where? Zoinks? Yeah, Zoinks. Get people in the door. Nobody's even lining up at the door. It's done.
Gaming.
They have made themselves irrelevant because they have consistently, year over year over year over year, have pivoted. Pivot. They pivoted so much, they're playing Twister by themselves. And nobody's around. They went full circle. There's nothing left. There's no consistent message in marketing and identity with Xbox. And this year has proved it at all. See, in a quiet year, Sony, without having its IP, still was able to achieve an identity, even after Concord, of quality games and great exclusive experiences. Whether they're PC and PlayStation or just only on PlayStation, PlayStation was the place. If you want to play the best games, the games of the year, there's only 2 platforms, and one plays them all. That's PlayStation. PC give you some, but PlayStation gives you them all. Xbox is not even there. So it's not even the games. You have pivoted so much, and now you're taking your games and putting them on PlayStation. Get ready. But dropping the price of the console ain't going to do shit. Because what is an Xbox? What is it? I have no clue anymore what an Xbox is anymore. Yeah, I have no clue. Is it Halo? What is an Xbox anymore? It's a logo. A brand of what? A brand of quality games? A brand of what? A brand of Bethesda games? Like, listen, grinders. Starfield was marketed by Bethesda. It was a Bethesda game that Microsoft happened to front. Nobody says Starfield is an... Starfield is not identified with Xbox. How Halo, when it came out with Xbox, it was like, yo, Halo and Xbox are peanut butter and jelly. Because Microsoft is buying shit off of shelves that's a secondhand shit. See, that's the problem that they've had. That's why Call of Duty, they have to spend tons of money in marketing to make Call of Duty have an identity with Xbox. And number one is to only have it playable on an Xbox. But what's crazy is that Sony was able to create an identity with marketing, promotions, commercials, bundles, and built the Call of Duty saying PlayStation's the place to play it. That's what Microsoft needed to do after owning them. Sony didn't even have to own Activision to make Call of Duty appear that PlayStation is the place to play it. They did bundles, promotions, commercials, all over the place. They marketed the shit out of it to convert those Xbox 360 owners and Xbox One owners to say, no, the new home of Call of Duty is on PlayStation. Even though the game was multi-platform, Sony used its marketing strategy to make Call of Duty appear. They did the same thing with Destiny. Destiny was multi-platform. Sony marketed the shit out of Destiny to make it look like it was an exclusive. They spent the money. They used their marketing power to make multi-platform seem that this was the only place to play on PlayStation. That's the kind of strategy that Microsoft needed to do. Sony didn't have to own Activision or Destiny or Bungie or Call of Duty. They just used their marketing power and install base. If Microsoft was going to do that now that they own Activision, they needed to create a campaign of Call of Duty this year in 2024. They should have been releasing Call of Duty games in Game Pass, getting people know that Call of Duty's new home is Xbox. Even though it's multi-platform, it's Xbox and Game Pass.
Black Ops 6, day one Game Pass.
Black Ops 6.
That was the year. This is what they needed to do.
I said I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, right, Phil? You were real hyped about it. It's a choice. Well, you let them know that the only choice is in Game Pass or on Xbox, even though it's multi-platform. Whether and if the law made you not do that, then I don't know who allowed you to spend $80 billion saying that would be okay, because that's crazy. But you cannot buy third-party shit off store shelves, Bethesda's IPs like Elder Scrolls and all the other stuff, and just think just because you signed a check over that now it's your identity. It's not your identity. So what is an Xbox? That's the question of 2024 and the question next year. What is an Xbox? What is it? What is it? We don't know. Is it an IP? Or was it just a piece of black plastic hardware or white plastic hardware that just says, just boots up? What is an Xbox? What is, it's the community. What community? Is it the people on the phones? The people on the PC that download Indiana Jones and the Janky Jones and the Janky Circle? What is it? Because it has lost its identity. And now, this is where they are. So dropping the price, not going to do anything. Getting people in the door, dude, they're not, listen, 2024 shown the full face of Microsoft's strategy. Steam, their games on Steam was part one. Them putting games on PlayStation and Switch is part two. Microsoft is not, as Orion stated, getting, what did he say? He said getting...
Looking at the Series X here, I mean, it's time. We are in year 5 now. It's year 5. Come on. Let's get more people in the door.
More people in the door. Listen, Ryan, let me tell you something. I'm not no industry insider, media mongol, whatever you clowns. I don't know how you're on an Xbox podcast, and I see on that third shelf all the way up top, there's a PS5 up there. I don't know what's going on there, Ryan McGavery, but you better hide that because they're going to come looking for you. I see that on the ground. Did you see it on the third shelf? What's the PlayStation doing in a Podcast Unlocked podcast? What is this? Is that an Xbox on the third shelf up there? Ryan turns on his other Xbox to show it on his TV. There's a PlayStation up there on Podcast Unlocked. What are we doing here? Uh-oh. They're coming for you. Eagle Eye Grindhouse. What was that? But anyway, bring more people in the door. More people in the door. Ryan, let me tell you something. They're not trying to bring people in their door anymore. They are actually knocking on people's doors. They are like, sir, get away. I don't want your stuff. Listen, it's Phil. It's Phil Spencer. You may know me.
Phil Spencer.
You know me. Sir, be an Xbox. Dude, they're knocking on people's doors. They're going to door now. They're going to where the people are because nobody's coming to their door. I told you this already. Nobody's coming to them anymore. They realize that the shit that they're selling, nobody wants. So they got to go solicit. Microsoft's going to their doors. They're going to the mansions now. Yo, Frosted Glass. Yo, PlayStation House. Yo, can we come in? You interested? Phil's outside. Phil's coming to their doors. Phil's knocking on their doors. Nobody's coming to them. Nobody wants what they're selling. Phil has to go out and solicit, man. He's like when you go to the mall and he's like the guy handing out the Bourbon Street chicken. You know? When you go to the mall and the food court and you got the guy with the free samples. Hand out the Bourbon Street chicken. He's like, I have a piece of chicken. There's a piece of chicken. You want some chicken? Chick-fil-A don't got to do that shit. Chick-fil-A, you come to us, bitch. Wait on our line that's 2 hours long. The Bourbon Street chicken dude, he's out there in the streets. He got his little plate, his little piece of bourbon chicken. Give him a taste. Give him a taste. Then they come to our store. We have some of our chicken. That's Phil Spencer. Nobody coming to their house. Nobody knocking on their doors. Chick-fil-A don't got to do. They don't need somebody out there with Chick-fil-A nuggets. They're like, fuck it. Yo, the line's around the corner. You don't want to wait. That's PlayStation and PC. They're like, yo, we're Chick-fil-A, bitch. Phil Spencer's Bourbon Street chicken. He got the little trays. Take a little piece of chicken and maybe come get some. Buy a little platter. Here's a sample. Here's the little toothpicks. Little Phil toothpicks. He's handing them out. That's what it is. Nobody comes to their door. Phil's out there in the streets right now. He's begging. He's doing interviews. Anybody. Talk to me. Talk to me. I need to hear somebody. That's what he needs to do. Phil Spencer's like, interview me. I got to talk some shit.
No, you like to look at yourself on television, you sick son of a bitch. So look at this.
Talk to me, please. Interview me. That's him. Nobody come to their door. That's the bending the knee. Microsoft admitted this year in 2024, they need what PlayStation has. That's what they need. They need it. Shout out to Cyber Dragon with the 5 members. Happy New Year! Welcome VIPs! Eric, Ben Violet, Raji, Fred Vance, Jim Z. Thank you, Cyber Dragon. I appreciate it.
It's coming. It's coming.
Hit that like button, baby.
Xbox, no. Build that
Thank you, Cyberdragon. I appreciate it, man. But, like, that's the issue. I don't know what's going on with this thing. Ugh. But that's it. Nobody's coming to their door. And this year shows that. They don't care about their console anymore. Come on. I don't even know. And that's the problem. Like I said before, the problem that they have, and the problem they're going to have, is that Microsoft needs to stop with the fan shit. They got to stop with Fan Fest. They got to stop promoting these podcasts because they built this shit. See, this is something that 2024 has shown when we're talking about news and flops and all this other craziness. You know, the thing is, and not necessarily Podcasts Unlocked, but all these community podcasts. You know, Microsoft created this world of, do you remember when the Series X came out? And how many people like, thanks, Phil. Thanks, Microsoft, for sending me a Series X. They were giving them out. Remember? They were giving to all the influencers. Microsoft built this strategy. If you remember, you listen to King Thrash's podcast where he talked about this type of social marketing with influencers. This, I forgot, lower tier marketing, where they're not going to the big marketing, but they're using just common folk to pretend to wine and dine them and get them to be a promoter. And that's what they did. Microsoft built this house of culture over 20-something years. Ambassadors, that's right, at Boyski's. Xbox ambassadors, grassroots, Josh. That's what he was talking about. Shout to Thrash with his chef. He was exactly. They try to use. Remember they used to ask Ma, Aaron, where are the commercials? Oh, we don't use commercials anymore. Yeah, because they're using these influences. You start up an Xbox podcast. Here's Jason. Here's our new VP of Next Gen. You can interview him. We'll give you some access. Come to here, Fan Fest. We'll sign your ass. Give you some Xbox cappuccinos. Booty got them. We'll take you out to eat, wine and dine. It's the community. It's the community. They built this. They built this for their brand. And that's why what they're doing now is it's so difficult for them to pull the Band-Aid off and pull a Sega, because they have created this hive mind of this Xbox community. And what he's trying to do in this year is trying to say, if you just touch an Xbox game, you're part of our community. See, the problem is that they got to squash that moving forward. Like, they got to stop with this Xbox community. It is a service. Like, Netflix is not like the Netflix community. We're going to have a fan fest for everybody that watches a show on Netflix. No. HBO Mal, we're going to sign everybody. You know, when you walk into goddamn Best Buy, oh, you know what? Everybody who bought an item at Best Buy, we're going to celebrate the community. No. Stop. You got to squash that shit. Because that's going to make it harder for you to pull the Sega that you need to. You got to become just a brand, an app that just exists. And do quality shit that make people come there. You got, see, everybody does it. Squid Games 2, go watch Netflix. You want the Penguin? Yeah, go sign up for HBO. Sign up for Max. You coming? You want to see Last of Us Season 2? All right, go get Max. That's where Xbox pays them the glaze. They give them incentives. That's why it's so hard for them to they can't get out of their own way, because Phil wants to try to expand this community and use this hive mind. It's just not working because there's nothing to rally against. There's no games that's a rally. There's no rally call. There's nothing to rally except for Phil himself. Penguin was incredible. Maybe sign up for Max. There you go. So that's why every time they do something and they said, we're putting our games on PlayStation, you get these responses.
Stop. Enough. Stop. Enough. Stop. Enough. Stop. Enough.
But Grinders, the thing is that we're not, hey, you play the game. if the company that you like is embracing you, liking them, and giving you stuff, you do what you do. Just like with Thresh, everybody, you do what you do. No fault to them. The thing is that Microsoft manipulated them. They used them to get what they wanted. And now these are the people that are going to push back on them when they do this stuff. And you're going to get the whole
Stop! Enough!
Because they built this house with straw and it is falling apart. And it's making them hard to do what they want to do. But they got this community and this stuff and all this stuff. But exactly, Josh, you play the hand that you dealt. They built this house. They built this glass house because they built this house on false promises. The games are coming. We're sorry. We heard you. We're making it for you. We're listening to you. Every year is the year of Xbox. We're going to do it better. We're going to be better. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And guess what happened? It was more disappointments. It was more we're sorries. It was more we're learning. And that's the problem that they had. They built that house over false promises. Oh, I'm not showing games years in advance. Show State of K3 years ago. This is the problem that they have. They announced contraband. Oh, contraband. Who? Contraband what? Contraband what? They have built this world, this fake world of glass houses, and now they're throwing their own stones. And that was their year. Like, their year showed that they need what PlayStation has, and Microsoft strategies don't work. Because, grinders, let me tell you something. How do you get a company, ready? When this is how they started this generation. Ryan McCaffrey said they're 5 years in, right? 5 years in. Right? This is how they started Project Scarlet, this Xbox Series X. This was Phil. Knowing what 2024 has brought Xbox, we need what PlayStation has. We need what PlayStation has. Phil, there's not going to be a year of Xbox without the bloodbath of a show. Right? The bloodbath of a show. Here it is. What was it, Phil?
As part of that. Xbox is a hardware platform. Xbox is a publisher of great games.
A publisher of great games, huh?
So the question on these four obviously want to continue to invest in part of having the ability to guys that have reached their full potential, let's say on Xbox and PC. Well, there's always growth. Franchises that we obviously want to continue to invest in. Part of having the ability to continue to invest is that kind of platform exclusives and all those games, allowing us to invest in maybe future iterations of those, so sequels to those, or just other games like that in our portfolio. And when we don't damage Xbox and we can grow our business using what other platforms have and to help us with that, we're
using what other platforms have to help us with that. What does PlayStation have that Xbox doesn't? People that buy their games. I guess PlayStation sells. Because you never clarified, what does PlayStation have that Xbox don't have? Right? Using what other platforms have to help us. Well, what does Switch and PlayStation have? What can you tell? Like, what do they have? Do they have a special controller, a capability? No, what do they have, Phil? You won't say it, but we know what they have. They got a storefront that people buy the games from because you have self-sabotaged your own platform by giving games away in a service and conditioning people to not buy their games and wait for it to show up in the service, or wait until they want to pay a month and play the game and jump off. Peekaboo Gaming, you created this. You built this house. But it's pretty crazy knowing having what other platforms have. Let's see, that's how it ended this year, but let's go back and see how it started.
Our console that somehow we're going to win.
Wait, no, not this one. This one, where is it?
Build a great Project Scarlet. I want people to feel like they can have amazing console experience.
Project Scarlet is the Series X. So this is 2024 video that you just watched, and this was Phil Spencer right when the X was launching.
Build a great Project Scarlet. I want people to feel like they can have amazing console experiences they've never seen before, and that they've got the best lineup of content and services of any platform out there. And we're totally focused on that. And I know we have other things going with like coming to PC and xCloud, but I'll say that being a leader in console is something that the team is committed to doing. And that's we're not building this program to try to aim for second place. We were going to build it aiming for first place, and that's what I want to hit.
One of the other things.
Oh wow! Oh wow! Oh wow! So we went from I want to be in first place 5 years ago, 6 years ago, to I need what the other platforms have. He was shooting for the top, Wild Wolf. He was shooting for the top. He wanted to be first. I'm not aiming for second, he said. I'm aiming for first in the console space. He didn't say, oh, when little Timmy plays, dude, he says,
build a great Project Scarlet. I want people to feel like they can have amazing console experiences.
Amazing console.
Before.
Console.
And that they've got the best lineup of content and services of any platform out there. And we're totally focused on that.
Totally.
And I know we have other things going with like coming to PC and xCloud, but I'll say that being a leader in console is something that the team is committed to doing. And that's we're not building this program to try to aim for second place. We were going to build it aiming for first place, and that's what I want to hit. And when we don't damage Xbox, and we can grow our business using what other platforms have, and to help us with that.
Whoa! And on top of that, talking about another year in review. On top of that, hey Phil, you want to shoot for first place? Well, let's see. You're committed to that, right? Committed. He's committed. Yeah, he's committed. He committed. Is it not? Yo, I don't know what's going on. NGC Nelson, member for 27 months, says, Jesus, this show isn't showing up. I've missed 90 minutes. Really? What's going on with YouTube? Grinders, share this out. Let them know we're here. I don't know. Does everybody know that this is the Grindhouse special? It's Monday night. I thought everybody knew it was Monday. I think people lost track of the days. But anyway, using other platforms. Exactly, Niku. Does that make any sense? He went from we're not aiming for second. We're going to be a leader in console. Listen, he didn't say a leader in gaming. He didn't say the best gaming experiences. No, he was saying, yeah, we got things like PC and cloud, but I want to be the best on console. That's what he said. Now he needs what the other platforms have, he said, to be Xbox in the future. How do you recover? How do you pivot like this? And those were his words. And since those words, here are the results. He wants to, what was that? I want to play it again with the visual.
Build a great
2019.
Project Scarlet. I want people to feel like they can have amazing console experiences they've never seen before, and that they've got the best lineup of content and services of any platform out there. And we're totally focused on that. And I know we have other things going with like coming to PC and xCloud, but I'll say that being a leader in console is something that the team is committed to doing. And that's we're not building this program to to try to aim for second place. We were going to build it aiming for first place, and that's what I want to hit.
Aiming for first. Trying to get in the second. And then I saw, yes, Josh, I saw the projections. Next year, they're projecting to be even lower than 14% because they know that the Nintendo's going to have big. They say the PlayStation is going to be at like 35. Nintendo's going to be at 30. And Xbox, and then they're going to be 30. And then there's going to be the new Switch. And then they get the Xbox is going to be like 10. Look at this. He's committed to being a leader. Ultimate console experience. Look, console. See, that's where I don't understand the podcasts and these Xbox influences. It's like, dude, how do you go from being all about the console, like Phil said? Phil wasn't talking about, oh, billions of gamers on all. He actually poo-poos PC gaming, and he's like, yeah, things we're doing with the cloud, we're doing other things with the cloud, and we're doing things with PC gaming, but console's the experience that I want to win and have. Dude, he specifically pulled out the console. How do you sit here and go, oh, it was never about console sales, it was never about the console? Dude, you got the guy right there saying it's about giving the best console, aiming for first place. So what happened? This happened. The chart. They lost. And you can admit it. You can admit that they have fucked up. The lack of games, the lack of quality, the promises, next year will be better. Next year will be better. No. COVID. Remember COVID was an issue? Oh, COVID. Look at Blue. There's COVID. Look at Nintendo with the red. There's COVID. Why are you only COVID? What happened? You lost. And you can't just take the L and just do what you want to do. You got to drag them all through the mud. You got to piss off more and more people that still have a little light gleaming for your brand and piss them off. Get them screaming in the streets.
Stop. Enough.
You lost. You failed. PH failed. It's like a team that just loses on the football field and they won't leave the field. It's like, dude, the game is over. You lost. Go to the locker room. No. We're still a team. Yeah. Take your team and get the fuck off the field. The game is over. You lost. They just won't leave. Do what you want to do. Obviously, you do not want to be in the console space because you are the Windows Phone of consoles. That's what you turned into. Are you waiting are you waiting to be the 3% like you were with Windows Phone before you shut it down? I think that's what they're waiting for. You're going to get close to it. 10% probably by next year. So what? Do another year or so, you'll be down to 4 or 5% like you were at Windows Phone, and then you can pull out. That's what they're waiting for. You know that. Game Night 123 with the 5. He goes, remember Xbox wanted to sell 200 million Xbox Ones? Then it was later revealed that they sold less than 60 million. They have these unattainable goals. They do. And I'm telling you, prediction-wise, they're waiting for this Xbox percentage to just go down to like probably when it hits like 7%, 5%, 3%, probably another couple of years. And then that's when they're going to be like, okay, we're done with the consoles. And I think next year is going to be even more accelerated. So to get into some predictions, grinders, let's get into some predictions. We've seen where the changes have gone. But as I said, I'm getting over a cold, so I'm still trying to fight it here. But prediction-wise, going into console sales, like if you want to look at this, I think the Switch 2 is going to be crazy, sold out. I think it's as much a stock as they have. I think the PlayStation is going to remain strong now that they got the Pro out there. And they got the PlayStation, and I think they're going to be more. And like I said before, just like we saw this holiday, I predicted that. I think Sony's going to be much more aggressive with the price. And I said, because the Pro exists, Sony now could be more aggressive priced with the PlayStation 5 to get that install base. So like what Ryan was saying, what the Xbox should do is drop the price to get more people in the door. That's exactly what Sony's going to do. You see the $375 this holiday for the Fortnite bundle and the NBA bundle. Sony's going to be more aggressive of pricing the PS5 Slim because they got the PS5 Pro out there. And then next year at this time, they'll probably give a discount to the PS5 Pro. Or maybe in the summertime, maybe $50 off the PS5 Pro. Who knows? But like during the days of play. But those are some predictions there. I think that you will see more aggressive sales on the PS5 Slims now that the Pro is out there. Because basically you get people on a Slim, you basically could groom them to get them on to the Pro later on in the thing. So, and I think you might see more bundles. I think you're going to see more aggressive pricing with the PS5 Slim now that the Pro's out there. That's what happens when you have a mid-gen refresh. Unfortunately, Microsoft's not in that situation. They got the S and the X. So it's going to be status quo and probably even worse for them because like I said before, Microsoft goes quiet, and if they start talking about Xbox app on all these PCs and all these other things and talking about Xbox everywhere and all this stuff, it's just going to take more and more attention away from the console itself. And I told you before, they don't have that kind of game to bring that lore to their platform anymore. Like Starfield was it. Even Hellblade might have had some push, but Avowed, a new IP, like I just don't see Microsoft being real successful in getting a new IP out there and being some sort of incredible hit. It can happen. You know, I'm interested in I liked Oblivion. So I don't know, maybe, but Avowed again, it just looks kind of weird, and I don't know. I don't like the combat in Avowed. It looks kind of awkward. I like Clockwork Revolution. Clockwork Revolution looked interesting to me, and South of Midnight. Those are my two Microsoft games I'm looking forward to, and definitely Perfect Dark. And we'll see what Fable is, but I'm count on Playground Games. But like Perfect Dark, I want to see because I like Perfect. That's one of my favorite franchises, Perfect Dark. So, but PlayStation, I think with their games. I think Death Stranding 2 is going to be absolutely incredible. I'm just hoping it comes out early in the year rather than later. And Ghost of Yotai, I think, is going to be incredible. I also think we'll probably see more. First party announcements from their games. I think we're going to they got to start showing Wolverine. And I think now that all this stuff has been said, I think we talked about one of the things I didn't talk about too much is the hardware. So, like I said about the PS5 Pro, they had the PS5 Pro. The Portal was the end of last year, so that was the last year device. But they had the PS5 Pro this year. I think the PSVR 2 is just doing its thing. It's sitting there. It's getting all these games, but Sony's really not doing a lot of support themselves. They're getting a lot of games from other platforms, which is just another avenue, which is nice. And I think they look really good. Some great games just dropped. I got to definitely try the Alien game when that goes. I got to play that when you get a chance. I've been sick. You can't play VR when you're sick. I'll tell you that because that is a nightmare. So, but I just feel like Sony really dropped the ball on their first party support for VR too. I wish they did more of it. So hopefully that's my hope for 2025. Is that they do more support for PSVR 2 from their first party. But I just want to see their first party stuff. Like we saw, Intergalactic. I want more. But I know we're going to see a lot of Ghost of Yotai. That's going to come out, and we'll see Death Stranding. And I think that's pretty strong. And I think the way Sony did this year was like, hey, we went into this year not knowing. And like I said, my year in reviewing games, well, a bunch of surprises. So I expect a lot of surprises next year as well. But I feel like on the hardware front, PlayStation has like the chess pieces set up. Nice, Josh. Cool. It's a great piece of hardware. I just want more experiences from them. But there's a lot of games and stuff on there. Definitely a lot. And it works great. But I just want to see, That was my thought. But I think Sony has the everything lined up. Like they got all. I know, Mike? I gotta do it now that I got. If my nose gets uncongested, I'm going to play because I'm like choking on my nose. But yeah, I think that Sony has the Portal. They got the Pro. They got the PlayStation Slim out there. They got the disc drives. They got the Portal. They got the Elite headset. They got the Buds. They got their Pro controller. I think they're ready to go. I think the stage is set to check. Now it's game time. It's the second half. It's what everybody's been cooking on for the first 4 or 5 years. We had a solid run. And even in years where we didn't know big games were coming, like I said, for Sony this year, it was ASTROBOT, a game they launched with, but they fleshed that thing out into something incredible. And they've still, in years of quiet, they didn't need to rely on Uncharted. They didn't rely on a God of War or an Aloy or like a big IP from somebody, a Spider-Man. They didn't. And they still had a game of the year this year. It's crazy. They still had a game of the year and still, even with the L of Concord, still held strong and are going in next year with huge momentum in the sense that they got their game of the year. They're going to probably put that on PC. Who knows? They got this PC front and they got this push. And who knows about fair games? I'm not looking forward to it. But who the hell knows what this service? Like I saw Herman Holtz's interview. They're going to still do some games, but I think that was a bit of shell shock that, hey, just throwing a service game out there is not the best. So maybe they learned from that stuff, from the Concord L on there. But they got a lot of great partnerships, even exclusive games that they have coming as well. So I think they're going to be set up for a great year next year. I think there's going to be a lot of great stuff coming next year. Another L for this year was what was it? The X Defiant. Ubisoft, I think next year, do some third-party predictions. I think Ubisoft next year, I think somebody's going to buy them or they're going to do something. So I think Ubisoft is in trouble. So if you full Ubisoft, who knows what happens to Ubisoft next year, but there's something's going to happen to them. And I think right after Assassin's Creed drops, or maybe right before Assassin's Creed drops. February is going to be a big month this year. We'll see. Hopefully January, when that comes around later this week and next week, we don't get a whole bunch of games getting pushed out already, delayed to later in the year. So hopefully, that's right. Don't ever go full Ubisoft, Miss Dennis. Yeah, Tencent will buy them. Yeah, I think some of them get them. Fair Games will be closing down the fairgrounds. Yeah, Fair Games, I don't know. I think with Fair Games, their best approach to Fair Games is just beta after beta after beta after beta and make sure that thing is fine-tuned. But also for Fair Games, I would say make sure it's not the whole game. Make sure there's parts of it so it still keeps people wanting more, but you're going to have to beta the shit out of it. Fair Games. Fair Games got to get baited the shit. Another prediction, Grinders, is I think the PS5 Pro is going to be the gift that keeps on giving. And I think as we see more and more games come out, because remember, the Pro came out and not a lot of games are coming out. We got a lot of older games early in the year getting patches and stuff like that, but we haven't seen games to launch as they're coming out throughout the year and seeing what the Pro modes are on them. So I'm thinking it is going to be the gift that keeps on giving with that PS5 Pro. And I think it's going to be something that's going to be a thorn in Xbox's side. The fact that they don't have a response to the Pro. And if they kind of just say, well, we're an Xbox app on everything and everybody's making Xboxes, I think it's going to dilute the brand even further. And I don't think Microsoft is going to be ready for what's going to happen. They're going to have to really just not focus on the console situation because the console situation is going to be dire. And moving into Xbox for 2025, with the Switch 2 coming out, if that gets announced in January with another couple of weeks and coming out in March, and you got February with all those games, you got Monster Hunter, you got Kingdom Come in your face too. Avowed hiding somewhere, needing room, but now needs more room. That might even get delayed. There may be, I think they're going to be an Xbox Direct in January. That's what they've been traditionally doing. So Xbox will probably have some sort of inside direct where we'll probably have more capturing of devs drinking coffee, doing cartwheels. We'll see if Cartwheel Call returns and Sue on the moped. That was a gift that kept on giving in 2024. So hopefully we have a new 2025 developer direct where I could get more clownery outside the frosted glass at Xbox Studios, because I need some more content for this year for 2025. More clownery going on in coffee shops and see what's going on with Rare Honey. But I think they're going to show at their developer direct. I think they're going to show. I think they're going to do Avowed, Doom. I think Avowed, Doom, South of Midnight, and probably that Oblivion remaster. I don't know if Perfect Dark or Fable show up at that developer direct. I don't think so. I would be surprised if they do. I think Perfect Dark, no. Fable, the same room, and now developing, pushed out to 2026. Yeah, they typically do it, Cephalon. They typically do it. So that's why I say the games that are solid, I think, for this year, definitely Avowed. So I think Avowed will get a deeper dive during the developer direct. They probably will do that, because that's the closest game coming out is Avowed in February. So that should be in the developer direct, even though probably people don't want to see more of it, but they're going to. And then they'll probably do Doom, which will probably be a June game. And then they'll probably do South of Midnight, which will probably be an after June game. And then and then Oblivion, which may be a stealth drop, the Oblivion remaster. But the remake, yeah. But I don't think, unless they tease Fable or Perfect Dark, I don't think Perfect Dark's showing up. Fable may have a chance, but I don't even know about that. We will see. I think Fable may be more of the June thing, if they're going to do anything with Fable. But again, I'm still don't know what the format of Fable is. If it's episodic, who knows? But I think, this is the problem that Microsoft has, is that they have some, like, the games are finally kind of in a cadence where they got kind of games coming out. The problem is their identity. It's like, every game is going to get questioned. Is it coming to PlayStation? When is it coming to PlayStation? Everwild? Nah, I don't think Everwild. Contraband? Nah. Yeah, Fable had a 2025 release date. But you know what, Josh? Also, so did Janky Jones. So did so did Avowed. Avowed had it as well. Avowed had a 2024 release date and got pushed for room for your backlog. So they might pull that bullshit again. And that's some bullshit, too. If they start delaying games because of Game Pass clutter, there. Well, that's your fault, Microsoft. That's not my fault. That's your fault. And then go into the one more thing. Somebody asked me about what I think about Indiana Jones winning best graphics from Digital Foundry. The guy loves himself some Janky Jones. Listen, Indiana Jones looks good. Graphics only a part of it. It's not the gameplay. It looks like a good game. It looks good. It needs so much power. But one question I saw pop up was, is Disney wanting a sequel to this for Janky Jones? Grinders. Let me tell you something. I have it over here. What did I tweet out? Hit that like button, Grinders. Hit that like button as we bring in the new year. But here we go. Like, look. Insider says here, and I think just looking at the play accounts of Indiana Jones, in terms of revenue generated, the game is not doing well in the slightest from what I heard. Also, Disney never picks up the phone and does something like this. In fact, just a rule of thumb, you never hear anyone ascribe a personality to a megacorp. You can likely toss whatever they're saying in the garbage can. Talking about bootleg jazz again, bootleg. From experience, working with Disney on licensed properties these days is really not all that complicated. As long as the pitch is good and you're willing to work within the creative outlines, the only thing folks at Disney actually want is for you to pay the licensing cost. In this situation, the scenario I could believe is that Booty called up his third-party managers at Disney and asked to start hashing out terms of a new indie game. Well, this is what this insider says. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to tell you my my two sources here as some predictions for next year. Listen, grinders. Listen. This is the game on Steam. It hit 12,000 the first day. Right? It now 24 peak is half that. 3,000 players right now. 12,000. That's a flop according to some of the PlayStation games that got launched on there and only hit 10,000. Problem is that the PlayStation games that go to SteamDB, they already been out. So everybody who wanted to play them have purchased the game. The game is old. You know, a game that came out 6 months ago was like, oh my God, that's like a decade ago in digital world, digital times. This is the first time this game has been out and been available. And 12,000 was all they could muster up? And then tell me that it's on a subscription. Well, if subscriptions were fine, grinders, let me tell you something. If subscriptions were fine, yep, that's right, sources on my eyeballs. If subscriptions were lucrative and could pay the bills, let me ask you a question then, grinders. If subscriptions, people are like, oh, but it's on Game Pass. Stop at the SteamDB. Fine. Well, if it's on Game Pass, and Game Pass is a lucrative business to make money back for games, well, then let me ask you a question. Would we have the 2024 Valentine's Day Massacre and Phil saying he needs what PlayStation and Switch have? If Game Pass could cover the cost, like they said 3 years ago with Bethesda, Game Pass could cover the cost of $10 million of Janky Jones. Well, if it could, then why would Phil need to put this on PlayStation? Why would Phil need to have what PlayStation has? So there's your answer. It's not enough. These numbers needed to be higher in order for the business. That's what 2024 has been for Xbox. It's about the business. Not about the fun, not about the games. It's about the business sustainability of Xbox. So, another source, my own eyeballs. This game was in development. It was chosen when Machine Games and Bethesda were independent, when they weren't purchased by Microsoft. They approved the budget. They approved the licenses. They approved this game. This game was not approved under Microsoft at all. Just like Hi-Fi Rush. That was in development before Phil bought them. He used to know when to release it. You think, given the situation now, where Phil Spencer says, I need what the other platforms have. He's in the business of getting their money back. Do you do you think he is ready to sign a check over to Disney for a sequel? And get all the voice actors back and mocap and get Harrison Ford, get him in there again and do another Janky Jones sequel? You think that he's ready to sign that check and approve an Indiana Jones sequel when Hi-Fi Rush 2 was little old Hi-Fi Rush 2 was being built by Tango Gameworks and told Phil they're working on a sequel and he said, oh, no, you're not. And he shut them down and canceled their game and sent them to the curb because they wanted to do a sequel to the little old Hi-Fi Rush. Game had like 4 licensed songs in it. You think that Phil's ready to sign a check over for Jones, Indiana Jones? And get the voice actors and get ready to go and all that mocap, which is tons of mocap, is 400 something hours. You think they're signing a sequel? In the realm of we need our money back? Listen, Machine Games is working on the DLC and the PlayStation version. I think depending on how the PlayStation, just like how Hi-Fi Rush, I think if the PlayStation version blows up, maybe they do a sequel. But I think they're waiting on this because I don't think, first off, if they wanted to do a sequel to this game, why would they put it at the ass end of December? Like after the awards, after Game of the Years, after all this stuff. They just took a game that they're like, oh yeah, it just shows no confidence. It just shows like, hey, yeah, put it out in December for Game Pass. It's like, dude, you missed the boat. You missed the conversation. I don't get it. And what's crazy, they shown so much of this game. They shown so much of this game that I thought it was going to be a stealth drop in January. They showed so much of Indiana Jones in the developer direct in January. I thought it was a stealth drop. I was like, oh man, this game's coming out today. Look how much they're showing of it. And then they showed more of it and more and more. And it wound up being like December. It's like, what? Yeah, Josh, I think in the PlayStation, but I don't think Indiana Jones is going to blow up on PlayStation. I don't think so. It's not going to, I don't know. We'll be surprised. It depends on when it comes out. Like I said, they're in competition with all PlayStation's lineup. You put Indiana Jones out next to like, oh yeah, Death Stranding 2 comes out a week later. It's like, oh shit, goodbye Indiana Jones. This is what I mean when I said before how Microsoft has competition. Just putting their games on other platforms opens up the door to all new levels of competition. Now, the timing of when you put Indiana Jones on PlayStation is impactful because if you put that thing out and, oh yeah, it's a week after Death Stranding or Death Stranding comes out before Indiana Jones or Ghost of Yotai comes out or other PlayStation games, Indiana Jones got to stay far away from those games. So you got to strategically launch Indiana Jones in some like the ass end of friggin' spring when nothing's coming out to even have a chance. But that's Microsoft's problem, and that's a whole new avenue. And you bundle with the DLC. It gets better after the first soul level or something like that. But it's still just very disorienting. And the AI is dumb as hell. It's not very engaging. The cinematics and story are good. But the AI is horrible. And the combat is not fun on there. Because the AI is not fun. And then I think Nintendo does their prediction. I think Nintendo, you got Metroid, they're rumored for Mario Kart 9. Yeah, the Switch 2 is going to blow up no matter what you think about Nintendo. And Nintendo has been a quiet year. Nintendo had a very quiet year this year. Couple of remakes, that Zelda game. Very quiet for Nintendo because they're in the lame duck period. They're getting ready because next month, it might be full blown Switch 2. But we will see where it goes. But I'm telling you right now, I think Xbox is an identity crisis. And here's Broken Silicon. Hear this. If this isn't a fact enough, like what's going on?
Well, so what do you think 2025 holds for Microsoft Game Pass? Their games coming to other platforms and Phil Spencer? Well, so look, they've announced that basically everything's coming to PlayStation and PC and like at whatever platforms they can bring them to, I'm sure, including Switch. Next year is where it's going to be obvious that Xbox is slowly turning into like Sega. Like it is.
Yeah. And with Game Pass, I don't know if there will be any movement on Game Pass next year. I mean, they did a restructuring this year, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, the milking of the existing fans. They're going to try to stabilize Game Pass, probably get rid of Phil. And yeah, they're going to become like Sega. That's what we think. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's their ultimate thing, but I don't think they're going to go out as quick as Sega. I don't think they're just going to go overnight. We're just putting games everywhere because they are pulling this Band-Aid off so... Yeah, it's right.
25.
It's coming. They're pulling this Band-Aid off so slow that they're making sure that they burn everything that they ever built behind them, man. They are making sure that they piss off every single fan and grind their gears to the ground, to their bare gears. And they know the killer blow is when they announce Gears E-Day going to PlayStation. That is the day of days. That is Emergence Day. That is the end. I think Forza is going to be a start. If they say Forza Horizon early next year, going to PlayStation, I think that's going to be an eye-opener. That's going to cause a lot of people to be screaming,
"Stop! Enough!"
But it's or Master Chief Collection or Gears E-Day. Either one of those. I think Master Chief Collection, I think that's going to be the end too. But it's going to be something. A Gears or a Halo going to PlayStation, and that's E-Day. Whether Phil's there to see it or Phil leaves, if I was Phil, I would say you would want to retire before that happens, because that basically flips that is the ultimate PHILNESS. I think Phil's like, okay, well, on Friday you're gonna announce that Gears is coming to PlayStation. Well, I quit. What's up, Thrifty? Happy New Year. I think Phil doesn't want to be there for that smoke. For Gears or for Master, I think even Master Chief Collection. People will try to give an excuse going, oh, it's such an old game. And dude, the fact that Halo shows up on that. So if those games are going, and Phil he was not afraid when he said no red line that those are going to PlayStation, but that is the end. That's the end of days. That's it. Because that's it. Because then you're just cheering for a plastic that has no identity. It makes no sense. Because now you get all the games that PlayStation gets, and you get your Xbox games, your franchises that you love. Okay, you can say, I like the controller. Oh, I guess. But I think that's it. And I don't know if Phil's around for that. The way Phil talked this year, Phil seemed he didn't seem like the same PHILNESS this year. Phil seemed very defeated. He did have a good Ryan McCaffrey interview when he was trying to hype up Activision. But even in the photos at the end of the year, even in the Valentine's Day Massacre, Phil looked very defeated. He looked very, very kind of like it's coming to an end. And I think he knows that the news is coming in 2025 that really just says there's nothing to say. It's like, guys, like, yeah, I'm sorry. Like, I did my best. I learned. I'm still learning. And I tried. Like, I think that's it. He seemed very defeated this year. He did not seem a rah-rah rally. He just seemed like he was just posing for pitches. But deep inside, like, he knows what's coming. And even those interviews at the end of the year where he said no red line, like, just talking about it, the fact that he's kind of building, and the whole, everything's an Xbox and the campaign and all, it's all the building blocks to the ultimate E-Day, X-Day, we'll call it. The final blow, the final Satya blow. And I think you're going to see when the financials hit, there's going to be some sort of response. And I think they may tout a bunch of games going to PlayStation right near financial time, because their finances are horrible and they're going to have to counter that. They can't just sit there, because I told you before, you're counting apples to apples. So I think sometime in March or end of February after Avowed comes out and like around that time in the quarter, I think that's when they're going to be like, yo, yeah, here's a whole slew of games going to PlayStation, and Master Chief is one of them or something like that, because they're going to do something. The same thing why they prematurely announced Indiana Jones going to PlayStation. They completely destroyed any kind of marketing, publicity, and hype or association with Indiana Jones and Xbox. They completely destroyed any marketing because they announced it prematurely going to PlayStation. Why would you do that? Use the leverage during the holidays to move some of your, not only your Xbox, but your friggin' service. Hey, you know, because that's what people don't understand. Like, by them announcing games going to PlayStation, that takes away people's wanting to go to their service as well. Not just buying a console, but takes them away from the service. And they're probably, too, Michael, I don't even want to say that, but yeah, probably more layoffs coming and studio closures. That's what, who knows what happens to Machine Games. They finish the DLC and release Indiana Jones. He may say, thanks, Machine Games, you're done. We're not. You got to remember, a lot of these games, Hi-Fi Rush, Indiana Jones, Starfield, Call of Duties, all this stuff, Hellblade, all these games. Well, maybe not Hellblade because they were. Yeah, maybe not Hellblade. But like all these games from Bethesda, these games from Activision, all these games were already in development. You know, Redfall, he pulled that out of the trash. They didn't want to release it. All these games were already in development. We have yet to really see, I would say probably South of Midnight will be one of the first. Fable will be another one. But we have yet to see so far, especially from the Bethesda, stuff that Microsoft has approved, greenlit, and funded from day one. Indiana Jones wasn't that. Starfield wasn't that. Hi-Fi Rush wasn't that. Outer Worlds 2 will be that. So we have yet to see the second wave of a full development cycle under the Phil Spencer and Microsoft parent. So what happens? Look what happened to Hi-Fi Rush, Tango. They had that game. They didn't know when to release it. They still dropped it. Cooked a year. Looked good. They came up saying, hey, we're going to do a sequel now. And Phil's like, we'll have to shut you down. No sequel for you. So who knows? After Indiana Jones gets released, Machine Games comes in and goes, hey, we're ready to do a sequel. Phil, I'm not approving that. Troy Baker, he's expensive as fuck. Yeah, we're not doing that unless I do the voice. But yeah, Machine Games, you know what? You're done too. Goodbye. Who knows? They bought so much stuff. Like I said, it's like at a buffet. You take every single thing you bring back to the table going, I'm not eating all this shit. Microsoft bought so much stuff that I don't think they really know what to do with any of these things. Hi-Fi Rush and Tango is a perfect example of that. Toys for Bob. They thought they were going to make Banjo-Kazooie or something. They were going to do something, or Spyro, whatever they're doing. The Toys for Bob said, we're going independent. They started the year this year. They're struggling. And I think the struggles are going to go on. So we will see. We will see. But if they do it a sequel to Indiana Jones, make it third person, please. Thank you. Or maybe they add a third-person mode to Indiana Jones currently and they release it on PlayStation. Wouldn't that be a smack in the face? Who knows? But I think it's going to be a crazy year. But granted, let me tell you something. If you want to have a crazy year and you want entertainment, fun, soundboard, grindhouse music, then you hit that subscribe button. We're almost at 3,000 subscribers. About 13 people away, 14 people away. Our members' goals are going up. I still can't get the next emoji. I'm got to be like 30 short because it keeps going down and up. But we got a couple of members today, but still chasing that 13th or whatever emoji is it's daunting because I think we need a steady 300 members at a whole time, and it's been pivoting between 250, 275, 225, and I know it's the holidays and stuff. Everybody's up and down. But subscriber-wise, we're 15 subscribers away from 3,000. So if you're new here, you got a membership or something like that, please subscribe. It'll be awesome to hit that 3,000 as a goal. But again, it's about the quality of subscribers. It's just a number. It's really all the people that come and hang out here. So again, but it'll just be nice, to show growth. It's growing. It's always growing, but it'll be nice just to hit that milestone. If you're new here, subscribe. Ultimate Grind is music. I've been dropping some music there. I'm trying to come up with new ways of getting more music out there for the Ultimate Grinder subscription, and then so I could get some also. I'll drop some for the VIPs, but the Ultimate Grinders get the day one. Tomorrow is going to be a members only show. We'll just shoot the shit. We'll talk about some stuff. I'll give you some ideas of what I want to do with the channel and what I want to do. Try and get input from the members and see, what you think might work. Get some feedback from everybody. So we'll just chill tomorrow on New Year's Eve around noon. So if you got a membership or you want to get a VIP, it's $5. Attend the show. We'll have some giveaways, and we'll just chat about the things I'm thinking about and things like that, and maybe whatever news that I didn't get to cover for today, because there was a lot. I didn't see Frogs jump on, unless he did and I missed him. I didn't see Frogs jump on, but it was a lot to try to cover the whole year. I tried to do the things that stood out and keep it entertaining as well, things that really I felt passionate about. But anyway, grinders, hit that like button. Hit Toys for Bob did dodge a bullet. Hit the like button, and I'm going to play a song as we head out. That's right. Everybody's going to be getting ready for the year tomorrow. But definitely, if you want to jump on, try to jump on. Maybe I'll do it a little earlier in the morning, because I know people maybe after.
Whatever your name is,
we'll be going out
get ready
there.
for the big
Welcome.
surprise.
Thank you for subscribing, Kevin Mack. I appreciate it, man. But yeah, there you go, the Arnold. But yeah, we'll just get all the way up to the 3,000 subscribers there. I really appreciate it on there. And then we got a big celebratory show and maybe do some of the new things that I wanted to do. But members show, maybe we'll do some in the morning. Just keep the locked here, members. You'll see it. I'll do a video, a thing, do it. I'm gonna try to see when I could time it. Maybe in the morning, maybe we'll see. And I'll try to do it early in the day, because I know everybody's gonna be out partying tomorrow there. So, but I want to do something for the members, at least a little something before the end of the year. So thank you again. And here's the music that you can listen to. We got some cool music here. Let's do the I like this one. Let's do on a nice little, we got a nice song here. Next year, we promise. Here, we hit our goal. I think we had my super chat. This goal thing is all messed up. We got one. What do we got? One super chat. We got a member gift. I'm counting the members gifting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got enough. That stupid goal thing resets. I don't understand it. So anyway, we had enough to hit our goal. Thank you, Ron M. I appreciate it, man. So let's hit a little song here. Grinders on our way out. Have a happy new year. Members, we'll talk to you tomorrow. But thank you, everybody, for all your support this year and the years prior. It's only going to get better from here. I got a lot of ideas and more fun, and I always keep it head on a swivel, entertaining, fun, and PHILNESS never dies. So grinders, hit that like button, share it out. Happy New Year. And here's a message from our friends.
This year's been nuts, oh can you believe? Xbox highs and lows, it's a lot to perceive. Microsoft's journey up, down and round. Next year we promise you'll see us rebound. Critics and fans in a never-ending fight, praising then cursing, it's a wild ride, alright. Through the chaos we hold our hope tight. Next year we promise we'll make it right. Next year we promise, just wait and see. We'll bring the games that set you free. Next year we promise, just you wait. We're working hard to seal our fate. From epic highs to deepest lows, the road to greatness nobody knows. But trust in us, we'll find the way. Next year we promise it'll be our day. Developers crunching nights and days, crafting worlds in so many ways. Despite the stumbles, the vision remains. Next year we promise we'll break these chains. Developers crunching nights and days, crafting worlds in so many ways. Despite the stumbles, the vision remains. Next year we promise we'll break these chains. Next year we promise, just wait and see. We'll bring the games that set you free. Next year we promise, just you wait. We're working hard to seal our fate. Developers crunching nights and days, crafting worlds in so many ways. Despite the stumbles, the vision remains. Next year we promise we'll break these chains.
Developers crunching nights and days. We'll bring the games that set you free. Next year we promise, just wait and see. We'll bring the games that set you free. Next year we promise, just you wait. We're working hard to seal our fate.
It was a disaster. It was a disaster.
Good night, grinders. Happy